May. We are back again. I am Coach Jineen. I'm a mindset coach and a self-love expert, helping ambitious moms to alleviate overwhelming self-neglect so they can experience more inner peace, more wholeness, and more confidence, but more than anything, so they never lose themselves again. So to kick off today, we waiting for Miss Annisha to come through. But Miss Annisha is going to come through. She is number one on the May takeover, and we're going to be talking about confidence while aging. So while we waiting for all y'all to come in, I'm going to welcome y'all now, but I'm also for the replay welcoming you guys. And as you come in, why don't you just drop I choose me in here so we can get the engagement popping. And if you haven't followed me, make sure you follow me too. So we just going to wait for them to come in, and we'll get this thing going. I'm just going to type the first comment in to say I choose me. Let's see here. All right, we got that there. All right, we're waiting for Miss Annisha to come in. I'm early. Y'all know I like to be punctual, so she should be joining us any minute, any minute. We'll give her another second. Let's see here. Oh, I see Miss Greta in there. Hi, Miss Greta. I'm waiting for Miss Annisha to come on in here, but I am so glad that you are here. Make sure y'all drop I choose me in the chat. All right, Miss Anissa just DM me and said she is on her way. So we're going to give her a hot second. But I'm so excited for this episode. So we did the first I Choose Me back in January when I first launched my book. And I had, who did I have through? I had LaTorsha, I had Brittany, I had Jasmine, and I also had Adia, and we did that thing, and we all talked about joy, relationship intelligence. We talked about self-care, and then Brittany is a therapist, and so she talked about the bonding of mother-daughter relationships. So that was the first takeover, and then people DM me and said, "Nee, I want you to do it again." So this time I brought it back. All right, I see Anissa trying to join. Okay, hold on, let me get her in here. She's having trouble. All right, let's see if that helps her. Oh, I see that, Miss Greta. Yeah, so really, the first one, like I said, we had those people come through. Oh, there she go. Ah, Nisa, I see you trying. There she go. All right, just turn your camera around. And there she go. We made it. Listen.
We did. Good night.
Yes. I'm so excited. You look so pretty. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
You bring it on in.
Good.
So
Yeah.
we got some of our friends in the chat, and then more people will be coming. But we're going to
Okay, nice.
get started. You didn't miss anything. I was just catching people up on what the I Choose Me, how it started back in January, what it's related to, which was my book that came out called I Choose Me, The Intentional
Yes.
for Losing Yourself Again. And so last round, we had 4 dope women come through talking about some things. And then this time, you coming through, you're going to be talking about confidence while aging. So we're going to jump into this thing and not make it be too long. But May is the month, right? It's Mother's Day in there. Everybody that's on the I Choose Me takeover this month are all mothers. And as I said, we're showing up for ourselves so we can show up for our people. And I wanted this to be available as a replay, but there's also building community and showing people how we can come together, and that choosing yourself is not a selfish thing, it's a selfless thing. And if we just start doing some of these things, you'll end up doing better in life, and then just showing up better in life, love, and motherhood. So let's kick this thing off.
I love it.
Yes. So one, what I want to say is, Miss Anissa, tell me more about you. I know who you are, but I want you to tell my tribe and your tribe what it is that you do and who are you.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to tell you thanks for having me on your platform. I think what you're doing is beautiful. Congratulations again on your book. You know, my people, the people who go through stuff and then take it and say, okay, I figured my way out. I'm gonna create something to help the people who are going through it still. And that is what you're doing right now. Your book will serve a lot of women because the things that you would have been able to champion, like a lot of us still going through it. And I just want to tell you thanks for showing up in the world like that.
Appreciate
Now,
that.
about me, I am a speaker, a blogger, a podcaster. I basically create content for women mainly, but a lot of men are on my channel as well. But with people who are interested in having a fascinating life as they approach the age of 40. Because you know, 40 is like that unicorn age, right? It's the age where everybody thinks that you should have everything in life accomplished and finished and done. And when I was approaching the age of 40, I realized, oh my God, all this pressure is on me. I don't like it. Let me see if I could geek out and find out some more information. And same while I'm doing that, let me share the information that I'm finding out. So I created 5 years to 40 geared towards that to share information on topics like health and finances and relationships and careers as we approach the age 40 because I think everybody deserves a fascinating life, you know,
Mhm.
and the best way to do that is to find out the information that you need and be intentional about creating it. So that's what I do. That's the content that I create.
You know what? I love
Good.
that. Now that you say 40, I just turned 40 in December.
Right.
And we got Miss Anissa in there.
Welcome.
Yes, we got our friends up in there. We got She Wins in here.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got a couple more people. Hey, ladies, everybody that's joining, right? I choose me in the chat, so y'all can go ahead and definitely be a part of this. But I was saying I turned 40, and so part of the reason why I chose you is it's so intentional. Like for me, when you said about that pressure it is when you are about 35 or whatever, and you're really trying to figure your life out. Like I wrote the book and I dedicated it to my previous self and saying I'm ending a
Oh,
chapter to start a new one. So
oh,
I was very intentional that I rolled the book out for that purpose, and that even though things happened to me in those previous chapters, in order for a new one to begin, one must end. And I think we get stuck
absolutely.
in the fact of our old life or how it has to be, and then also conforming to make others feel happy or doing what makes other people feel happy instead of what feels good to us. I feel like when I hit about 35, I started to really check what does Jineen want. And that's when I talk
Mm-hmm.
about my truths.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has a story. And I got some people on here, I ain't gonna call them out, but they got stories that they need to share and they working on some things. And
Right.
so I really appreciate your vessel, or what I should say is the way, the channel, the way you're expressing yourself through podcasts, because I do that too. But just to help people, because you're going back and finding the people and helping them get through. And I think that's so awesome. But that's why I told you about confidence while aging, because that is your message, right? And
Yes,
that is something that you've been doing.
absolutely.
So I'm proud of you for that.
Thank
So
you.
you're welcome. I always ask my people, what's
Mm-hmm.
your word of the year? What is your word of the year?
Ah, good question.
Mm-hmm.
So my words are two,
Mm-hmm.
alignment and
Mm-hmm.
intention.
Oh.
So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just doing things to just do things. I wanted to make sure it was aligned to what I know I want to accomplish. Because you know, sometimes you could get real caught up being busy, and being busy is not being productive.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I've spent periods in my life when I've done that, like, oh, I'm involved in this and I'm involved in that, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
woo, my calendar is so booked, but at the end of the day, there's no real satisfaction. Or if I'm satisfied, I'm not necessarily happy with the results that I'm getting from it. So I wanted to be just aligned
Mm-hmm.
and be really intentional about what I was doing for the
Oh.
year. So those are my words.
Well, I love intention, right? Because intentional queen journey. So
Yeah,
when you
yeah,
talk about,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I
You
love
are an
that.
intention
Yes.
queen, so hey.
Yes, we got Coach Kendra in there. Drop I choose me in the chat. She's gonna be coming through too, guys, and she's gonna be
Hey.
talking middle of the month about how we're talking about flourishing, but getting into your greatness. So I wanted to shout her out while she was in here. But word of the
Yeah.
year, I love that, and definitely intentions, doing things with good intentions. But also, I love the word of alignment, and I feel like alignment I learned through discernment. And sometimes when
Mm.
you're younger, you don't really have discernment. And so when you really learn how to have discernment of who's for you, who's not, when it's time to let go, when it is, like that helps you be intentional, but also it helps
Mm-hmm.
you be in alignment with where God is taking you on your vision, on your purpose, on your mission. Like, who are
That
you
is
serving? What are you doing? And,
fact.
my word of the year is expansion. And anything I've done this
Ah,
year has been fascinated by expansion. And
love it.
thank you. So when I was in the mud, I tell people probably 5 years ago, my word was pivot. I wanted to pivot towards peace. And then I chose to be involved into my best self. So that's why my logo is a butterfly. I believe you got to have evolution and stages to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
last year, I told you on She Wins when I spoke about burnout, I've hit burnout twice. So balance was very important to me before I took on new ventures for expansion. And one thing
Right.
about expansion that people don't talk about is like a rubber band, right? If it's just laying there, rubber band has no purpose, but until it's stretched, it has
Mm-hmm.
purpose, but you got to have space to take in something. And so
You
I felt
have
like
to.
I did a lot of purging, a lot of getting ready for expansion. And
And
I love that. Go ahead.
and expansion is not necessarily comfortable either. I think that's one thing a lot of people, because it sounds great. You know, the script that goes with expand your
Mhm, your
tents, and you're
territory and
you're
all that.
taking on more, but taking on more is not always comfortable. How was that for you when you did expansion? Well, how did it shake your comfort level up?
Oh, that's funny, right? Because with me being a mindset coach and the first part of my framework is believing yourself. So it's the belief, the
Mm,
self-belief that I can do it
mm,
and that I'm enough. And
mm.
that's why me and you both talk about self-worth and we talk about
Yes,
confidence. And it wasn't until I
yes.
got vulnerable that I was okay with stepping out of comfort zones. Because when you start stretching and people know your
Hmm.
name, when I put my face on that book, because that was a big thing my book coach had to coach me through about a good month. Put your face on that book. I was like, I'm not comfortable with that.
Oh
um,
Lord.
Here it is, right? And so just stretching yourself to a point that you recognize that you're showing up for your tribe, but you can't show up to your tribe unless you show up for yourself. And
That
giving myself
that
that backing of just keep going and baby steps lead to giant leaps. And that's kind of what I told myself with expansion and giving myself
mm,
grace in each part of it, and enjoying it, right? Celebrating my wins. And celebrating them with people who celebrate me instead of going into territories that tolerate me.
ah, that's a whole word. That's a whole word. And you see that tolerating and finding the right environment for your gifts, because your gifts and talents are a lot like plants. If in the wrong environment, they would basically wilt and die. And so important. And we could tie that into confidence as well. Like
That's,
it's
yeah.
really hard for you to build your confidence in an area where you are surrounded by people who doubt your abilities, people who do not give you the opportunity to use your strengths, people who second guess and misalign you, or side put you on the side. It can actually make you start doubting your own self. And one of the things I've found as we got old, as I've gotten older, and I've seen it in the lives of my friends and other people as well, is that it's really important to have people around you that support your confidence, that
Mhm.
give you, find communities where you can allow yourself to thrive, or people who get behind you and say, I know you can do this. As a matter of fact, I know you can do more than this. Let's do this. Let's run with it, instead of doubting you, and you know creating opportunities for you to be able to grow. You want people who help you to grow and build your confidence, because in the wrong places, you would forget some of the things you're capable of.
Yeah,
Trust and
you would
believe.
shrink.
Hmm.
One thing that I used to do a lot was shrink,
Yeah.
to make people feel comfortable.
Yep.
And I tell people, let your light shine bright. And I think I used to dim my light to make other people feel comfortable. I was good at being a chameleon because I just wanted to be accepted. And
Yeah.
so when you want to be accepted, you will blend and do things. But what I've
Mhm.
learned is when God put me and sat me down, okay,
Mhm.
I had to learn confirmation on the inside from the discernment, and I affirmed myself. And then instead of seeking confirmation or validation from others, I allow it to be what they say as an additive. So knowing that my self-worth's 100, knowing who I am, allowed me to expand.
Yes,
You know what I
miss.
mean? But I had to really dig deep and say, does this serve me? Am I really choosing myself? Are they in alignment with me? Because that's one of your words too. Like just really
Right.
all those things led to me building confidence. But I believe vulnerability leads to courage, and then courage
That
leads to confidence. And it's a slow walk. and but you got to give yourself credit along the way, but it's repetition. And I think sometimes with self-belief, we don't want to keep coming up if we get some failures there. But you know,
Right?
you win or learn. You don't win or fail, you win or learn. Mm.
You, it's, I love that you said that. And again, all of what you're saying is so important to building confidence because a lot of the times, like you said, it's a slow walk, right? And sometimes while we're doing that slow walk, like we're building ourselves up and building up our self-worth and reminding ourselves of who we are, sometimes we forget to pay attention to the wisdom that we have over the years. You know, in our society, people almost come up against like the older you get is almost like the less relevant you are and in days gone by when people were older they were treated with a sense of extra care and extra dignity because they
Wow.
honored the wisdom that they brought
Mm.
into the tribes, into the societies, in the places that they were. We don't necessarily do that nowadays. As a matter of fact, nowadays it's almost like the older you get, you almost have to compete with the young with people who are younger than you. And I never want that for us because I feel like there's so much value to the wisdom that we've accumulated over the years. All those slow walks, all those times that we would have had plans that went off track or plans that didn't go as it was supposed to, but we found ways to, like you said, pivot and
Mm-hmm.
pull ourselves back. There's so much value to that wisdom that, and those are the things that help to bolster our confidence. Because even when you come up against new things, because life will be life in all the time, right?
Yes.
When you come up against them, you know, listen, I know what I've been through already, so I will be able. I know I have the ability and I have the confidence to walk to keep that slow walk going,
Yeah.
to do my affirmations, do what I did before, and get myself to where I need to be.
Yes.
So
I think
I'm
that's
glad
so
that you
good.
said that.
Listen, every time I do that, talking about a I choose me, I want you to say, what does I choose me mean to you? And have you ever felt lost yourself in life or love?
That's a good question. Okay, so I'm gonna answer the second part first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I have been lost in life and lost in love before. As a matter of fact, 2023 was uh, almost a wilderness year for me, a year where I had to just step back and regroup, recalibrate, and figure out exactly what I wanted to move forward. And I'm somebody who take a lot of I believe in knowing what you want. Like figure out what you want and move towards it. So that's something that when it comes to self awareness and all that, I love to do the work involved in that, like to know what works for me from what doesn't. So when I found myself in a place where like, oh, this is so far off where I thought I was, it was very strange for me. Uh, but when I got over the initial shock of like, oh my gosh, this is not what I journal about.
Yes.
This is not what I had planned for myself. When I got over that, I was able
Pivot.
to create a pivot and create a path that I think is even better than what I had planned before. There's so much things that I was able to let go of. Like I had plans around same, what my idea of love would look like, what my idea of my career would look like. And I started challenging myself and saying, well, what if those things don't work? What
That's a
if
good
what you
question.
had in mind that doesn't work out? So what's gonna happen? Are you gonna stay stunted or like are you gonna come up with a new plan? And that's what I did, and it was so liberating because I think I stepped into 2024, which was my 40th year, with a whole different or a definitely upgraded view of what life and love is supposed to look like,
Mm-hmm.
and with tools that now whatever happens,
Mm-hmm.
I know how to choose me through it all. It was a hard lesson to learn,
It's a hard
but
one. Mm-hmm. It is.
it was absolutely it's not like, oh yeah, I'm good and I love myself. It's not, no, it's like, I'm good. I love myself. I know who I am. I know what I'm about. I don't need to make loud statements. I don't need to make loud declarations. I know it. It's something deep and and rootsy inside me. If I didn't go through that feeling lost in love and feeling lost in life, I would have never been able to have this calm, just a good, a good. It is it It was, like I said, it was a tough walk getting here, but I love it. So for truth, I think when you declare that I choose me, it is something where you choose to empower yourself. You choose power. You choose poise.
Mhm.
Choosing you is not about, oh, this and I'm bad. It's about whatever. The world could be in chaos, but there's a calmness inside me. My power comes from God. There's only one condition I truly believe in is goodness. There's only one power I believe in, and that's God. And if I stick my mind on those things, if I keep my thoughts on the things that He talk about, I will be all right. Everybody else could bring whatever, but I choose my peace of mind. I choose my calmness. I choose my power. I choose my poise more than any other interaction or any other thing that people come up with or anything that people throw at you. And it's a nice place to be. It is such a
Listen,
beautiful place to be.
you speaking my truth. I love all that. Kendra J said she loves that too. Listen, when you choose yourself, it's just different. And I think it goes
Mm-mm.
back to, like you said, when we just change that point of life and we hit that next stage. But we look back, and like I said, I glance back because in the Bible, Lot's wife looked back, she turned to a pillar of salt. And so I used to be
Right?
like, getting salty. You look back, you're a little salty. And so
That's it.
I glance back, but I look back and say, look how far I've come. But I
Mm.
don't look back at it with shame. I knew it happened for me, not to me. And so when you
Yeah.
stand on the 4 and not the 2, then you don't stay in victim mode. And that's what I feel like the caterpillar phase is when you the bruised caterpillar and woe is me. And then you have to do the cocoon work, which is what you're saying of you did the self-awareness and you started to pivot and figure out what you wanted to do and be comfortable
Mm-hmm.
with you. And like you said, be poised and stand in your truth. And then when you
Mm-hmm.
fly out free, it's really like getting your wings and you're just able to just expand like an eagle. Like that's what I feel like expansion means to me when I say it's my word of the year. It's like an eagle. When eagles soar and they rest on the clouds,
Ooh.
right? And they let the
These
wind come up.
analogies.
Listen,
Mm.
like don't get me
I
started. That's
love
my thing.
it.
Listen, I'll
I
parable every day.
love it. I am here for it. Go on.
But the
Just
eagle,
no, hold on, not to cut you, but I'm not see. Are you seeing me? Because I'm not seeing your
yes, I
thing
can
on.
see. No, you can't see me. We can see you.
No, okay. Because I seen yours. Yours. You'll be on top. It's black
Mhm.
for where I am. So I'm hoping that everybody's seeing you
Oh, I
and
hope
seeing me.
so. Kendra,
But
can you see me in there? Kendra will let me know if she see me, if they see me.
okay.
Anybody, if
All right.
y'all can see both of us, let us know just so we can make sure that the live is giving y'all what y'all need. But
Sorry to
she
cut you,
said I
honey.
can
Go
see you
ahead.
both. She said she can
Okay,
see us
good.
both.
Great. All
Okay.
right. So maybe it's just on my side.
Yeah. But yeah, I was just saying like with eagles, there's a couple of things with eagles, and it's all through the Bible, but like I be studying animals out here, just to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
But like with eagles, even when we take care of our kids because we're moms, right? And so the
Mm-hmm.
eagles make the nest. The mom eagles make the nest with thorns under the bottom, but when they're small, she puts the feathers on top. But when the weight happens, then they stick on thorns. And so that makes the
Mm.
baby have to move to expand their wings. So it gets to a point, even in life, in love, and motherhood, you have to make some expansions. And
Yeah.
so we got to make our kids do the same, but how they mate, because we both
Mm-hmm.
single, how they mate. I did a whole, I was speaking at another women's thing, but they got me fiery or talk about eagles. I know this is outside, but I have to bring it here. How they mate is they mate for life, but they go through
Yeah.
three tests. And the woman eagle is bigger for a reason to carry the kids, like meaning like shelter in the nest and all that stuff. But the male eagle is smaller for a reason. So he can go out and be a provider. He needs to be swift and move.
Ah.
But how she decides if she mates for him for life is he has to go through three tests. And he starts off with a twig and she goes up with the twig and she drops it. If he catches it, she says, and then she gets a branch. So she's doing things and then she does it 3 times for a total of a log. If he drops the twig or the branch in those first 2, she's done with them. But if he
Mm.
catches the log, they spar in the air and they mate for life. The point that I'm saying here is the reason the weight of the log is to represent the family and the things that you carry. So once you understand your weight and you understand your confidence
Mm.
and you understand who you are, then
Mm.
you understand who you rocking with, and it's that eagle. Because remember, eagles soar, but they fly alone, but they're not lonely. Me and my brother did a
You
whole
know,
podcast episode on that.
I'm okay with throwing a few logs behind some men.
But I mean, when I did the eagle thing, they said you gotta do it again. But I felt it was good to insert here because my confidence. as I get back out there, right, I recognize maybe I stopped at Ranch or Twig. And so,
Right.
this go right, I have to be more mindful of how I move and the
Yeah,
weight that I
definitely.
carry.
Yeah. So I absolutely agree with what you're saying. And, there's a quote from Maya Angelou that it's funny. You know the thing about what we do. When you teach, you have to be very careful to practice what you teach. So there's a quote that I always used to say, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. And I remember I had a relationship where I there was a somebody who very, very early in the relationship, he acted up. I was like, you know what, that's it, I'm done. I don't have to deal with this person. And we ended up still talking again and continued for a little while after, and it was the same. It still ended up with being a disappointment. So I think that from the twig, when the person failed at the twig test, then yeah, you end it. You end it. Always believe that, like that Coach Kendra says. Always believe the first time, and
Yeah.
it's a thing that even I think that even people who are confident in certain areas of their life, that could happen to them because confidence is something that is transferable. But okay, so what I'm trying to say, sometimes you're those a boss babe, like you in your job, you're just like
Mhm.
nobody could touch you. You're on top of your game all the time. Da, 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 da. But then you find you might have other areas of your life where you're just not that confident in. And you see the gaps and you see the areas where like there's lack showing up in your relationships. Maybe you don't have time for your friends, you don't have time for your family, you don't have time otherwise. But when you're like I think that you have this authentic confidence, then you're able to use it to apply to all the areas of your life.
Mhm.
And if there's anybody who's watching or maybe viewing later who might be realizing, okay, there's areas in my life that I'm exceptional at, but the areas that I'm struggling, I think it's really important for people to realize that going back to the conversation where we talked about you do the slow walk, there will
Mhm.
be a time when you have to go through all of that resentment, the shame, the guilt, or whatever for whatever area you are in now. Let's say you're in a financial crisis. Uh, that comes with a lot of shame. That comes with a lot of guilt. So embrace that and understand that you could draw on the strengths that you have in other areas of your life that you're excelling in, and remind yourself that, listen, this might be a area that I'm struggling with now, but I know that I can get through it because there are other things that I've managed to get through and can move forward in. So
That's so
it's
good.
to remember that confidence is, yeah, it's something that
Transferable.
could be transferred, yeah, it's right through your life.
Mhm.
And if, whatever area of struggle that you're in right now that you might be feeling that tension in,
Mhm.
you can get stronger in it and get that confidence to keep moving forward. Don't let one thing make you feel like everything else is a bust.
Oh, I was getting ready to say what's thing you would go back and tell your younger self related to that experience, and I think you just said it. Confidence is
Yeah,
transferable. That's good.
that
I'm taking
yeah
notes. I don't
that's
know if anybody else taking notes, but I take notes. So yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. And you know what? You've been to a couple of my master classes, but you know how I always talk about wholeness, but I talk about the whole pie of a person and how I want you to reach yourself on all those things because I believe, like you said, if you are confident in certain things, use that to attack other areas in your life that you feel aren't at the best spot. Like Rachel said, and it can fluctuate. I tell people it can be fluid. Like, maybe last month it wasn't as good in the family relationships. What can we do better? What can we pivot on? What can we change? How can we show up? And I believe
yeah
then even in our families, like I tell you, you need to schedule in date nights, you need to schedule in family time, whatever that looks like. And your presence, like being present with them, is better than giving them presents. That's what I
yeah
and learning the love language for your kids and for yourself, so you give that to yourself, like the self-love, because over time you will become confident and it will exude out of you, even if you have imposter syndrome and you don't even feel like you're confident, because it's been many a times people like, girl, you out here confident, boy, they don't really know, like like the inside work you have to do to show up so bright.
yeah yeah. It takes a lot of work. It's not. I mean, I'm thankful for all the people who are able to just jump out and just do this thing without having to go through the hurdles of the doubt and all them other things to get
Mhm.
there. So I'm thankful for all the people who are doing that. Y'all are the lights us, but I know that I have had to grow through a number of things to understand and embrace who I am.
Mhm.
And but all of those things I love because they help build my confidence. And if there's one more thing I could tell myself, my younger self, it would be patient and know yourself. I think at the end of the day, confidence can't happen if you don't know who you are. Because if you do not know who you are, you can be building up a confidence for a persona and not like the real person. Like you have to know who you are. You have to know your strengths. When you know your strengths, you know that you don't have to worry about trying to keep up with the Joneses, quote unquote. I'm a Jones, but still,
Mhm.
you don't, you don't have to, you don't have to, you don't have to feel like, okay, well, I'm good at this, but I could be good at that, and I could be whatnot. And I understand that we're all multifaceted people. That's wonderful. But when you know yourself and you know who you are and you're confident in who you truly are,
Mhm.
you can flex flex your strength. So I know I can speak, I can speak. If there's something else, another opportunity that comes up, I can say, okay, maybe I can delegate this thing, maybe I can give it to outsource it or whatever. And this is for people who are in businesses as well. Because if you're in a business, you wear many hats, but don't let one particular part of, let's say your accounting is something that you don't really understand or know how to do, yes, do some courses to improve it. But apart from that, is there a way that you can outsource some of what you're struggling with so
Mhm.
that you don't feel as though, well, oh gosh, I'm so incompetent because I can't understand how to do these taxes and I can't do. You know, a confident decision would be, okay, I know my strength is this business that I'm running. I know how to make the main thing that I'm selling. I'm exceptional at it. I might have a area with my administrative things that I need help with. So I'm going to confidently give it to somebody. Yes, I'm going to keep an eye on my business and what they're doing,
Mhm.
but I don't need to try to do everything at the same time. You understand? And that's me flexing my strength.
Mhm.
And that's me being confident instead of trying to micromanage everything. Because
Superwoman.
confidence will
Yeah.
let you know you don't need to do that. That is what is leads to the burnout and the thing and
Mhm.
on when you're trying to do everything. I know I've been that person, so I could tell your people who are on here, my people on here, there is no
Yeah.
need to do that. You
Listen,
don't
I
need to
said
do
burn the
anything.
cake. Burn the cake. That superwoman
Yeah.
syndrome. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And
You
sometimes we
don't need
wear
to
it like
do.
a badge, like we say, because I can do
Oh
all these
yes,
things. Because
yes.
I can do it all. Yeah, no, I tell people there's
No,
power in doing nothing. Doing nothing is doing something. And I
it's
think it's
beautiful.
power in resting and just really taking care of yourself so you can continue to show up. So now we're going to
Hmm.
jump into your three big tips about like on your journey. What's one three big tips you would say about if your confidence while aging? Give me your three big things you want takeaways that people should know about confidence while aging.
Okay, wonderful. So the
Mhm.
first thing I mentioned it before is to like know your strengths and embrace them.
Mhm.
Flex what works for you. You don't need to worry about what other people are doing. No, the better you know yourself is the better you show up in the world. So embrace who you are, know yourself, embrace your strengths, and flex them in the world. When an opportunity comes up for you to use it, don't sit down and say, wonder if I should step up or step up. Just do your thing because you come here to do something in the world that you alone can do it the way you have to do it. So every time you second guess yourself and step back, you're robbing the world of you and the things that you're meant to do. So let's not do that in 2024. There's something you have to do it. Embrace your strength.
Mhm.
The other thing um, is to honor your wounds and to honor your wisdom as well. Because being alive this long, we know a lot of things. And part of the responsibility we have, I believe, is to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, but also taking care of the future generation. So the things that we're learning, I think you honor your wisdom and you honor your wounds by sharing information with other people. We're all called to serve. So even if it's one person that you can take under your wing and mentor them and tell them, well, look, I went through this and this is what I saw, and this is a way you might be able to go through it. honor the things that you've learned through life by sharing with other people. Love the fact that you're at this age where you can share with other people, because your decisions today is, I saw a meme. We are the future. We are the future ancestors. We are the ancestors. Okay, act like it. So the things that we're doing today, literally shaping the generations to come. So let's honor the wisdom that we've accumulated right now. It's not something to shy away from. It's beautiful. Share it. And the third thing is learn how to to balance between being happy and satisfied. It's a dance, but you have to be intentional about being happy, because there's so much noise in the world telling you why you shouldn't be happy, why you shouldn't be confident, why you shouldn't like yourself, why you shouldn't like your stomach, why you shouldn't like your past, why you shouldn't like your just everything. There's always something on the internet, in your face, somebody telling you something. You shouldn't like your car, you shouldn't like your house. There's always something to tell you who you should not be, but choose to be happy. Choose to like who you are right now and to be happy. And on top of that, choose to be satisfied. Because if you do not be intentional about being satisfied, you can get to this age and say, well, I have all of this, but I'm missing this one thing. So this is just horrible. I get it. And you miss out that you have so much beautiful things all around you.
Being
Yes,
content.
so
I'm listening to you. Yeah. Being
so
content.
much beautiful things that where you gotta learn to be content with where you are. This is not to say, well, you just settle along. I just say, well, whatever, I don't have to do anything else. But this satisfaction is something that just is a sweetness to life. When you could look up, get up in the morning and say, oh, thank you, God, for another day. I'm so happy that I'm here. I'm so happy that I have the strength to keep moving forward to whatever else I want to achieve. But even while I'm moving forward to achieving those things, I am thankful for where I am right now. And then you choose to be happy. Your definition of happy, not what anybody else is saying, not what you're missing, not what the people say in our work, not because you have to do this, not choose to be happy. And share that happiness with others if you want to. So yeah, those are the three things.
Oh, I think that's so
Yeah,
good. Let us know in the chat with the people that's still here. Give us a one in there if you thought that these were some good takeaways. And I'm just so grateful. I mean, what I really heard you saying is being in a space of gratitude, also getting to a point like legacy. So giving back to the the next generation, so that they
yes,
have something, right? Like I
yes.
dedicated my book to my son just so he could have something of me. And
Oh,
I
I
feel
love
like
that.
I like how you said your gifts. So like my gift is speaking. So I started with podcasting. So that's a way for people to have that, but it will be evergreen. And what I mean by evergreen is it will live on. So they'll be able to hear us. They'll be able to know what we were saying. That's
We
how my
bless
tribe found
you.
me. You know what I mean? It's through the podcast that evolved into something more of me sharing my story. And me coming from a very private family, like I broke generational things off my own family, like my mom and my parents, by just speaking.
Mm,
And
mm.
when my mom read my book and cried, it broke some. My mom's a very stoic woman, and my dad is military, and so for me, it was
Oh.
like, girl, you writing books and you on a podcast, and that was huge for me to break that silence, but it freed them to understand
Mm,
that to share, but share
mm.
within, because see, vulnerability is messy, but it's a little bit hard to know what to share, what not to share, and just getting to a point of saying what I feel comfortable sharing, but why am I sharing it? And I'm sharing it from
Mm-hmm,
a place that I'm helping those people, as you said, for the previous generation, of how you can
mm-hmm,
accept yourself, how not to lose yourself by being a people pleaser or being a perfectionist, because these are things I talk about, but like, and not burning out and not doing the superwoman syndrome, telling people they
mm-hmm,
can handle things. Like when you
mm-hmm,
start giving back, you are helping people, but you might, and we said we're giving back to the new generation, but I'm helping healing the old generation too.
You are.
You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
like I think it's transparent of just being you and just helping the people, helping your tribe. And
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, when you show up, they show up. You got to be in position like Ruth and Boaz in the Bible, right? He found her because she was in position. And so your tribe will rock with you when you get in position to be present. So showing up however that is that through podcasting? Is that through blogging? Is that through writing a book? Is that just for you just talking to somebody that you just no, like a friend on the phone, like it doesn't have to be so major, but don't hold it
Mm-hmm.
against them. And when
Exactly.
people come together, iron sharpens iron. And I think a lot of times women get into that point that they want to compete. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And I'm really in the thing of I've never been in that jealousy type space. And I feel like if I can help you, then I'm going to do it. And one thing about knowledge is nobody can take that away from you. And I think sometimes
That's
people
it.
hoard their knowledge because they think that you're taking something from them. But no,
Yeah,
when you share it, it makes everybody better. And so I think
absolutely.
everything you said with your takeaways is like, this is what people need to know for aging or who are already in certain spots where they can go back and give, and I feel like at any age you can continue to learn. You just have
Absolutely.
to be pliable, moldable, as we say, coachable, to accept the changes because you're ever evolving. Nothing will ever be the same. And that was a lesson I had to learn because I was very rigid and I wanted things to be the same. And when you understand that life is life and changes are happening, embracing how it's going, but knowing that losing yourself happens, but it's just recognizing the signs and symptoms that got you there, right? When we
Yeah,
talked about the eagles and just even in motherhood or even in dating, like there's just so many aspects to you, but looking at yourself as a whole piece and not walking around broken and bruised because hurt people. And so until you do the healing work, right, that cocoon work, that mindset, get that inner peace, you show up different because if you're calm on the outside, you start to show and bloom like that. That's why I love bloom because lotus flowers
love
need
it.
murky water to show up beautiful. So they have to go through so much dirt to be beautiful. And I think people
Right.
want the manure or the miracle grow that it takes, the things that life's on you to make you beautiful, but it's molding you for you to come to that space of just shining your light. But don't dim it, because this is how
Never.
we may view you. And I like that. You're saying be comfortable with your skin.
You have to be. You have to be.
Mm-hmm.
Life demands it.
Yeah,
Growth
yeah.
demands it.
Well, listen,
You
you
know?
just rocked out on a I Choose Me takeover here for the first one of May. I'm so proud to have you. I'm so excited for sharing the space with you. I want you to tell people how we can find you, what are you doing, and how we can kind of, collaborate with you. Run it down. Tell us
Oh,
your stuff.
okay. Thank you so very much. And again, I just want to shout out to your tribe and your people. Thank you guys for being on. And I'm looking forward to seeing all the other ladies that you have speaking. So for me, you can reach me. My Instagram page is 5 years to 40. My website is it's your season to soar.com. So that's where I have my blog and all the services that I offer is there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so people can follow through. Right now, I have a free course that is geared towards people learning how to accept being powerful. So you could go ahead and jump on that. I would love for people to experience from that. And apart from that, I am a speaker. From our connection in She Wins Society, I speak and I blog and I have a podcast. So you will be able to get links for the podcast on the website. It's your season to soar over there
And
as
look at what the
well.
Eagles do. They soar. Look how that all came together.
This
It's just season to
right?
soar, right? The Eagles soar. Yeah, I love all that.
I'm telling you, it's so amazing. I just love and this is how you know. This is how you know it's your people. Like everything just keeps connecting. That's how you know it's your people.
Alignment. It goes back to what you said because I pray for
Telling you.
divine alignment. So
Ah,
everybody that's coming through on this
mm,
line up, I pray for this
thank you,
alignment.
Jesus.
So I am appreciative. I'm going to get ready to wrap this up for everybody who's here.
Yes.
I Choose Me is doing well. I am so grateful for the people who have bought it. The testimonials have been great. I have been helping men and
Yes.
women. Schools have reached out and some church communities putting it on their.
Wow.
So when you start telling your story,
Amazing.
right, honoring yourself, because that was the scariest thing I did when you said, "Are you
Right.
comfortable with being uncomfortable?" Um, your story will translate for others, but it will help others by just sharing. So that message is what's translated by me doing that. The book came out in January and I released it in February because that's planting the seeds of greatness. So I was very
Mm,
intentional about when I launched it. And then, as I told you, March was Women's History Month. So I wanted it to be there for women to represent us. And then, as you know, spring, right? So April showers bring May flowers. I'm always talking about blooming.
yes.
It's the rainy
Yes.
seasons
Yeah.
doing the work that help us to bloom. And so this summer is going to be about healing because I believe in hot, instead of hot girl summer, it's hot girl
Heal girl.
healing.
Heal
Yes.
girl
So,
summer.
yes. So we trying to heal. So I am so appreciative. Thank you, everybody who's watching this now. Thank you for everybody on the replay. I want
Thank you.
good night. And don't forget to go over to her website and definitely make sure to follow us. And I will see you guys on the flip side. Our next one with Coach Robbin. She's a mamapreneur. She has a mamapreneur podcast, but she also is doing big things with I'm about to say mamas, but with mothers and entrepreneurship. And so you definitely want to meet with her. She is coming May 7th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you at lunch working, tap in, but I will have a replay for you guys because I know we busy out here. And have a good night,
Yeah.
guys. Thank you, Anissa.
All right. Thanks again. Take care.